Imagine a group of pilots, dismissed as incapable, facing not just enemy fighters in the skies but the crushing weight of prejudice on the ground. These were the Tuskegee Airmen, black pilots who defied Nazi ideology and American racism to become legends of World War II. Their story is one of courage, skill, and triumph against impossible odds. Watch till the end to discover how they changed history forever. On a blistering July day in 1943, over the sun-scorched fields of Sicily, a German Focke-Wulf 190 pilot scanned the skies, confident in his Luftwaffe's supremacy. He never saw the P-40 Warhawk diving from above until its machine guns roared, tearing through his fuselage. His plane spiraled into the Sicilian countryside, a smoking wreck. Behind the controls of that Warhawk was First Lieutenant Charles B. Hall, a 22-year-old from Brazil, Indiana. To the Germans, it was unthinkable. A black pilot had just shot down one of their elite fighters. This wasn't just a victory in the air, it was the first of 112 enemy aircraft the Tuskegee Airmen would destroy, earning them the nickname Schwarzvogelmenschen, the Black Birdmen. In Nazi Germany, where racial doctrine branded black people as subhuman, incapable of mastering complex machinery or showing courage, Hall's kill was a direct challenge to their ideology. Above the Mediterranean, the Tuskegee Airmen were about to rewrite history with every mission. The Luftwaffe pilots climbing to intercept American bombers in 1943 had no idea what they were up against. The Tuskegee Airmen weren't just pilots, they were some of the most rigorously trained, fiercely determined fighters in the U.S. Army Air Forces. They'd faced obstacles their white counterparts could scarcely imagine: segregation, doubt, and outright hostility. At Tuskegee, Alabama, they trained longer, 300 hours compared to 200 for white pilots, and faced a brutal 60% washout rate, compared to 40% for others. Only the best survived, creating what their commander, Colonel Noel Parrish, called a super-selected group. These men carried not just the weight of national duty but the burden of proving their race's worth. Their record would soon speak for itself: 15,000 combat sorties, 1,578 missions, 112 aerial victories, and a bomber escort loss rate that shamed their critics. These numbers didn't just win battles, they dismantled the myth of racial inferiority. The road to those victories began in the shadow of American segregation. In 1925, a U.S. Army War College report declared black soldiers inherently weak in character and unfit for technical roles or combat leadership. Yet, black aviators were already proving this wrong. Eugene Bullard flew for France in World War I because America barred him. Bessie Coleman earned her pilot's license in France in 1921 when no U.S. flight school would take her. By the 1930s, the Coffey School of Aeronautics in Chicago was training black civilian pilots, showing skill knew no racial bounds. As war loomed in Europe, civil rights leaders like Walter White of the NAACP, I. Philip Randolph, and Judge William H. Hastie pushed for black inclusion in military aviation. Black newspapers, the Chicago Defender, Pittsburgh Courier, and Baltimore Afro-American, demanded to know how America could fight for democracy abroad while denying it at home. Their pressure paid off. On April 3, 1939, Public Law 18 opened a crack in the door, mandating a civilian pilot training program for black aviators. It was a small, segregated step, but it was a start. By 1940, Franklin Roosevelt's campaign for a third term needed black votes in northern cities. On January 16, 1941, the War Department announced the 99th Pursuit Squadron, an all-black unit. It was billed as an experiment to test if black men could fly in combat. Leading them was Captain Benjamin O. Davis, Jr., son of America's first black general. Davis knew pressure intimately. He'd endured 4 years of silence at West Point, shunned by white cadets outside official duties. Now, he led 26 pilots to North Africa in April 1943, carrying the hopes of 13 million black Americans. They arrived at Farjuna, Tunisia, under Colonel William W. Momeyer, a skeptic who assigned them mundane Mediterranean patrols, hoping they'd fail. But the Tuskegee Airmen were ready to prove him wrong. Their first combat mission came on June 2, 1943, attacking the Italian island of Pantelleria. As their worn P-40 Warhawks climbed, German fighters pounced. The Tuskegee pilots held tight, protecting their bombers with iron discipline. No planes were lost that day, but the Germans learned these pilots wouldn't crack. Then, on July 2, 1943, everything changed. Charles Hall, on his 8th mission, escorted B-25 Mitchell bombers over Castelvetrano airfield in Sicily. 2 Focke-Wulf 190s targeted the bombers. Hall dove into the gap, outmaneuvered the German, and unleashed a burst of gunfire. "I saw my tracers penetrate," he later said. He fell off and crashed. When Hall landed, the base erupted. Black ground crews, who'd faced months of insults, celebrated. This was the first aerial kill by a black American pilot in U.S. history, a moment that echoed far beyond Sicily. By January 1944, the 99th had been in combat for 7 months, but Momeyer wasn't convinced. He filed a report claiming they lacked aggression, urging their removal from combat. General Henry Hap Arnold was ready to end the experiment. Then came Anzio. On January 27, 1944, the Luftwaffe hammered Allied forces at the Anzio beachhead. 15 Tuskegee pilots, flying outdated P-40s, faced superior Focke-Wulf 190s. Over 2 days, they downed between 8 and 13 enemy planes. Charles Hall added 2 more kills, bringing his total to 3. Flying inferior planes, they'd outperformed their previous 7 months combined. A War Department study later confirmed the 99th matched white P-40 squadrons, silencing doubters. Anzio proved black pilots could excel when given a chance. In May 1944, the 332nd Fighter Group, combining the 99th, 100th, 301st, and 302nd Squadrons, joined the 15th Air Force for bomber escort missions deep into Nazi Germany. At Ramatelli Airfield in Italy, Colonel Davis set their mission: "We cannot afford to lose bombers. Our job is to bring them home." This became their creed: stay with the bombers, no matter what. In June 1944, the 332nd got their signature, red tails. General Nathan Twining ordered distinctive markings for fighter groups, and the 332 ND's P-51 Mustangs were painted with crimson tails, spinners, and nose bands. Bomber crews didn't know their escorts were black, they only knew these fighters stuck close, never chasing kills at the bomber's expense. Word spread: request the red tails if you can get them. July 18, 1944, tested their resolve. Colonel Davis led 66 Mustangs to escort bombers targeting a Luftwaffe base in Memmingen, Germany. The bombers were late, but Davis kept his pilots orbiting in enemy territory. When the bombers arrived, 100 German fighters attacked. The Red Tails claimed 11 to 12 victories, but 15 B-17s fell in 20 minutes of brutal combat. 3 Tuskegee pilots, Lieutenants Robert Hutton, Wellington Irving, and Alfred Brown, were lost. Critics pounced, but analysis showed the 332nd had inherited an impossible situation, preventing total disaster. Their discipline held firm. By March 1945, the Luftwaffe was crumbling, but Germany unleashed its final weapon, the Messerschmitt Me-262, the world's first operational jet fighter, with a blistering 540 miles per hour top speed. On March 24, 1945, the 332nd faced their toughest mission, a 1,600-mile round trip to Berlin to escort bombers attacking a tank factory. Intelligence warned of Me-262s from Jagdgeschwader 7. Colonel Davis led 43 Mustangs into the Reich's heart. As they neared Berlin, the largest jet fighter force ever assembled struck. Lieutenant Roscoe Brown, who'd studied the jet's weaknesses, outsmarted one, firing from its blind spot. "I hit him in a 15 degrees climb from 2,000 feet, he said. The pilot bailed out at 24,500 feet. Lieutenant Earl Lane landed a 2,000-yard deflection shot using a K-14 gunsight, and Lieutenant Charles Bradley claimed a third jet. 3 Me-262s down in one mission, a feat surpassing most fighter groups' entire war records. The 332nd earned a Distinguished Unit Citation, cementing their legend. Not every mission ended in triumph. 32 Tuskegee pilots became prisoners of war, revealing the strange interplay of Nazi ideology and military reality. Lieutenant Alexander Jefferson, shot down on August 12, 1944, during his 19th mission, was stunned by his interrogator's knowledge. "He knew about our airfield, our commanders, even my parents' home in Detroit," Jefferson recalled. In Stalag Luft III, he was treated like other American officers. White POWs thanked him for red tail escorts, bonds unthinkable in segregated America. In a Nazi camp, I was treated more equally by white Americans than back home, he noted. The irony was bitter: freedom in captivity, segregation upon return. The Red Tails' record spoke louder than prejudice. They flew 1,578 missions, 15,000 sorties, and 179 bomber escorts, losing only 27 bombers to enemy fighters compared to an average of 46 for other P-51 groups. They destroyed 112 enemy aircraft in the air, 150 on the ground, and sank an Italian destroyer. Individual stars shone bright: Lee Archer, Joseph Ellsbury, and Edward Toppins each scored 4 kills, Clarence Lester down 3 in one mission. The 332nd earned 96 Distinguished Flying Crosses, 744 Air Medals, 14 Bronze Stars, 8 Purple Hearts, and 4 Distinguished Unit Citations. But victory came at a cost: 66 pilots killed in action, 32 captured, and 84 lost in training or non-combat missions. Behind every pilot were unsung heroes: the 16,000 Tuskegee Airmen, mostly ground crews, who kept planes flying despite scarce parts and primitive conditions at Ramitelli. During a March 1944 German raid, they worked through bombs to save aircraft, losing several men. Their aircraft availability matched or beat white units, a testament to their skill. The Red Tails' tactics, 3-layer escorts with close, medium, and high cover, required precision and discipline, honed through relentless training. Their P-51 Mustangs, with 437 mph speed and 1,600-mile range, made them equals to any unit, turning obsolete P-40s into a distant memory. The Tuskegee Airmen fought 3 wars, against the Luftwaffe, Nazi ideology, and American racism. Their victories filled black newspapers, but mainstream press often ignored them. The Pittsburgh Courier's Double V campaign, Victory Abroad and at Home, championed their story. While Germans reportedly knew the red-tailed Mustangs as Schwarzvogelmenschen, many Americans didn't know black pilots existed, a deliberate omission by the War Department. After VE Day, while white units planned parades, the 332nd faced uncertainty. Segregation persisted despite their record. Post-war, their story faded. Lee Archer, with 4 kills, rarely spoke of his feats. "Nobody believed a black fighter pilot," he said. Change came slowly. In 1948, President Truman's Executive Order 9981 integrated the military, influenced by the Tuskegee record. Benjamin Davis became the Air Force's first black general in 1954. In 2007, President George W. Bush awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to the surviving airmen. Only 300 pilots remained. Their numbers tell an undeniable story: 112 aerial kills, 3 Mi-262s in one day, 27 bombers lost versus 46 for others, 96 Distinguished Flying Crosses. Roscoe Brown summed it up: "We fought the Germans, ignorance, prejudice, and hatred, and won all 3. The Tuskegee Airmen didn't just win battles, they shattered barriers, proving skill knows no color and courage no bounds." The Tuskegee Airmen's story is a testament to what's possible when determination meets opportunity. Their red tails blazed a trail through history, proving that excellence can overcome even the deepest prejudice. Share their story, honor their legacy, and let's keep their courage alive. Thanks for watching.